Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into a pretty profound philosophical framework today to uncover the true, spiritual nature of human connection. We're going to explore what it really means to love, not just as some fleeting emotion, but as a foundational principle of our very existence. To do this, we're pulling our core insights directly from Chapter 1 of Ryuho Okawa's foundational text, The Origin of Love. We'll be examining how love transitions from an abstract and honestly often misunderstood idea into a crystal-clear pathway for actionable spiritual growth.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at the meaning of love, the origin of love, what hinders love, overcoming good and evil, and finally, the true starting point.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the meaning of love, uniting the self and others.
So the author doesn't just define love as a fleeting emotion or some basic biological drive. It's framed as a really profound spiritual recognition, literally the unity of self and others. The idea here is that we are originally separated from one God. So that deep desire you feel to connect with other people, it's actually a soul-deep yearning to return to that original unified state. Basically, loving others is essentially loving yourself, and ultimately, loving the divine. It's this incredible force that calls out and naturally elevates both the giver and the receiver.
Now, you might be wondering, where does this powerful, unifying force actually come from? Like, why do we inherently love in the first place? And what's the ultimate source of this energy that survives generation after generation? That brings us to Section 2, the origin of love and the power of eternal life.
The text explains that the true origin of love is actually found in eternal life itself. It posits that our souls are eternal, they don't just wear out or deplete over time, and the reason our spiritual energy never runs dry is because it's constantly being supplied by God's boundless energy. This continuous, nurturing power that sustains our eternal life, that is the very origin of love. It's an infinite resource, and it's meant to be shared, not hoarded.
But hang on, this raises a pretty glaring contradiction, right? If love and eternal life are our natural, intended states, and we've got this endless supply of energy, what exactly is getting in the way? Why is there so much division, conflict, and human suffering in the world?
Let's explore that in Section 3, What Hinders Love and the Trap of Egoism. The text lays out a really dramatic contrast here. If you buy into the belief of a one-time life, thinking your existence is limited to just a few decades before turning to dust, the author argues that naturally fuels egoism. You kind of start panicking, thinking only about me, which builds a massive wall between you and everyone else. On the flip side, recognizing our eternal life dissolves that panic completely. Understanding our infinite nature frees us from those selfish desires and lets us focus on unity, elevating each other through genuine love.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, Overcoming Good and Evil, Breaking Down the Walls.
So how exactly do we tear down these walls we've built around ourselves? Well, the author argues that acquiring divine truth acts as a real unifying force. When you truly grasp the spiritual reality of how interconnected we all are, it just shatters those walls of misunderstanding. And even more provocatively, the text suggests this knowledge elevates us way beyond the simplistic, worldly dualities of good and evil. Instead of judging people from a place of ego, truth lets us see our shared origins, breaking down all those barriers of separation.
Okay, so having removed these psychological and spiritual barriers and moving past egoism and separation, we finally hit our highest ascent. And we have to ask, what does love actually look like in its purest, most evolved form?
That brings us to our final section, the true starting point and the radiance of the soul. According to the text, love isn't just a single note, it's an entire symphony. To achieve true harmony, the human soul has to constantly learn and reflect the diverse attributes of God. Check out these specific characteristics: love, wisdom, courage, light, intellect, justice, and mercy. A truly evolved soul doesn't just zero in on one of these, it actively seeks to balance all of them. To really bring this home, the text uses this beautiful visual metaphor of a cut diamond. Think about it. A rough diamond doesn't really shine, does it? It needs to be carefully cut. And just like a diamond needs all of its facets perfectly aligned to catch the light and shine brilliantly, our souls have to balance those divine attributes we just looked at. By developing our wisdom, courage, and mercy all together, our soul achieves this incredible harmonious balance, allowing it to radiate true, multifaceted beauty. And you know, when that diamond is fully polished, love gets distilled down to this single, profound truth from the text.
The origin of love is a pure heart of selfless service without expecting anything in return. It completely strips away any sense of arrogance or that transactional, hey, I did this for you, so you owe me mentality. True love is simply the pure, uncompensated desire to give, to serve, and to elevate another human being.
As we wrap up today's explainer, we've journeyed all the way from the book's underlying definition of unity to its ultimate expression of selfless service. I want to leave you with a provocative thought from the text to carry with you. If egoism is just a trap, a side effect of thinking our time is limited, how will you apply this new perspective today? How are you going to break down the walls of separation and take just one step toward polishing the diamond of your own soul through an act of selfless love?